Welcome back, everybody. We are on part 2 of episode 199. It's time for the hot tags of the week. Some different things that have gone down that are interesting, important, or just something that we wanted to talk about for the hell of it. So we're going to start off here with talk about the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast that just went down Monday night after Raw, which was Edge and Christian on it. You know, not my favorite out of all of them, but it was better than some of the other ones we've had. I much rather would rewatch this than to watch like the Paige one, or maybe even the Stephanie McMahon one. Austin,
wasn't that Jericho?
Wasn't Jericho covering Austin?
Well, okay, he's playing the part of Austin. Yeah, that's true. Tonight, in the role of Austin, will be played by Chris
Irvine. Yeah, you know, this is my favorite one. That's got to be the Vince McMahon one. But there were some interesting parts in there. And you know what was weird about this? Austin didn't seem like his normal self. Like he's, you know how you act different around certain different people? I never would have pictured Austin acting weirder around Edge and Christian. Like I wouldn't see them hanging out.
It's
stuff.
like it pulled out his inner high school kid.
Yeah.
There was like so fucking, they had so many inside jokes and cracking up at the smallest things. It was weird seeing him not be Stone Cold. And at time you saw him try and get back into the character, like when he's throwing the fucking guitar across the room and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he was having a lot of fun.
Stark difference compared to the end of the last one with Paul Heyman, where he goes into full Stone Cold mode.
Yeah, where he's fucking like calling for a Texas death match and shit.
When he's all super serious and it's like, oh, now I hate you apparently, and that was awkward as hell. And the Paige one was really awkward forced, with Jericho. That was Jericho, right? Or was that Austin?
Paige was Austin.
Okay, yeah,
Paige was Austin.
Oh, that's right, yeah, because he kept talking about like, yeah, your family, and she's just like, oh yeah, my family. I want to bring that back up again, and fuck that thing.
I thought Austin was like, yes, let's talk about. Oh, but let me tell you this story about my father.
I think my favorite part about the Edge and Christian one, though, is something weird, but when they were going through at the end, and it was like, how would you like to be remembered? And Edge is just like, you know, I'd like to be a guy that whenever I went out to the ring and, you know, they had a lot of fun and people got their money's worth. Christian, what about you? I'd like to be remembered as being better than Edge. Well, Christian, that's not going to happen, buddy.
Oh, you know what else made me crack up? He's on about they're like, oh man, yeah, fucking Shawn Michaels phoned me. He said you belong there, Edge. Bret Hart, and he said the same thing. Oh, by the way, thanks for your call, Steve.
And then they're like, Christian, you're gonna get in the Hall of Fame, and he's like, yeah, I guess.
Fuck yeah, I am.
It was so weird.
He asks Edge, and you can just see him pause for a moment. Gotta say yes. Must think of good things to say about best friend.
It was so weird that like the first beginning of it was just like, Christian, I could call you Jay, right? Well, now you can. And then it's just like, let's talk to Edge for a while until Christian, you know, stops being upset.
Fucking what cracked me up, he's just trying to get a straight answer out of him. What one would you like me to call you?
Dude, I'm whatever. You can call me whatever. I'm pissed now. Like, you know.
Oh, I wish he called him whatever.
That would be great. Whatever.
At least Edge like tried to do something with it. He was like went into some awkward story about him riding a one-humped camel.
Yeah, like, you know,
that one-humped camel. I'm like, what the fuck?
He's like, you can call me Adam, you can call me Edge, or you can call me the Master, or something like that, and whatever. And Christian's just kind of like, you can't call me anything. That's my fucking name. But you know, there were some good parts in this. The kazoo thing was fun. You know, I don't know if the Kumbaya thing was as much fun. I got more out of seeing Austin in the little hat than him singing. Because that hat just does not sing
Edge
at all.
could not keep a straight face.
No.
Austin would keep asking him questions, and Edge just got this shit-eating grin across his face. It was fucking wonderful.
And I like how Austin was busting their balls about, like, with Edge. He's just kind of like, so, you know, you retire and whatever, and you just fell up ass backwards into this acting thing. And Christian, yeah, you got to be on there, and then the show got canceled. What the fuck happened?
It was fun. The number one story I liked out of this was the "Don't Look at Me" thing.
Yeah.
They have a game. I don't know why it was made up, but they just say "Don't look at me," and then they have to not look for a certain amount of time. And the fact that they did that game during that huge segment where Austin's put up on the cross is fucking hilarious.
You know, that had to just make him be like, you fucking ass. A huge angle, one of these things that they always do in like video packages of The Undertaker and stuff, and it's like, It's weird to think that in the middle of doing that, there's this game going on. Like, I'm going to have to watch that segment back and see if there's a part where Austin laughs or something.
You know, it'd be great if fucking he's up on the cross and all you can hear from down below is, "Don't look at me."
Has anybody not seen it yet?
I have not watched it yet.
I haven't as well.
All right, well, those are the good parts.
Oh, good. I don't want to watch it. Thank you.
No, you definitely should check it out if you get time.
I started watching it a little bit, but then there's these guys who do this post-Raw show that I switched it to instead, and then I never went back. So
Who might those be?
I don't know.
I don't know them either.
Oh, and we mentioned how they subtly talked about Sting's past. They did it in this podcast as well, where Austin was talking to Edge and Christian about the tag team division, and they mentioned, "Oh, it's great to see the Dudleys back. You know, they were here, they left, they went where they went, and now they're back.
Yeah.
They're back home. This is great."
I thought you were about to do Christian, you were here, then you went somewhere, and now you're back. Yeah.
I don't think they even
mentioned
mentioned it
that
with
at all.
Christian.
No, that's like Christian was there the whole time.
I think, like, at most, he might have said something like, "You were floundering for a while there," or something like, and then told, like, he got his come up
Floundering.
back up.
He was the fucking world champion.
Yeah, he was floundering from there. You reached the height of your career. That sucked.
Well, still, I mean, if you get the world title in that company, it's still just kind of like, "Oh, you were world champion in TNA? Oh,
See,
yeah,
at
well,
least-
I had a cheesesteak earlier."
At least he can take this away. He technically held the NWA title. He never actually had TNA stamped into his career.
Oh, that's good.
Well, it was NWA TNA. There was a hyphen there with the two, so it's
Yeah,
still
but
a-
it's
it's
not
50
going to be.
credit.
It's not going to be in his title history as the TNA NWA title.
Are you sure
here's
that
the
he
thing.
got it before NWA separated? I think they separated before he got it.
It
Oh no,
might be listed as
there's
TNA.
pictures of him with the NWA title.
With the ugly ass one.
I never thought that title was good. I hate it so much.
Yeah, he was NWA champ.
Is that what it says on, like, Wikipedia or something like that? He's still listed as Christian Cage?
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. Is it said that we're all looking at that right now?
Huh. NWA
Most
World
times
Heavyweight
he
Championship
never got
twice.
his
Good.
deals. Yeah, no TNA for him.
Good. Any other thoughts about this before we move on to a different one? I think we kind of mentioned, like, all the highlights, really, right? Yep, I'll take that as a yes. Changes are sore for Bo Dallas. He said that he's going to change his gimmick up a little bit. Not a full repackaging, most likely, but they're going to stop the motivational thing, and he's going to be, what? Like, this guy can't pull off a lot of stuff. I can't picture him doing some kind of thing where it's, like, the total opposite, where he's real intimidating. So how do you really, like, change Bo Dallas around without making him stupid or, you know, anybody have any ideas for what they'd like to see Bo Dallas do in the future?
Well, you're saying the opposite. The opposite wouldn't be intimidating. The opposite would be where he's making fun of you. And he's, like, pointing out all your flaws. So he could just go around, like, telling everyone how shitty they are. He could be like that unicorn, like, with little girls, like, "I wish unicorns could talk." And then the unicorn's like, "You are a shitty and awful person."
I
Bo
do like
Dallas
that.
just go around telling people that.
If Bo Dallas was that meme, that'd be great.
Bo
Then he could be
Dallas
like-
is an asshole unicorn. Yeah, I actually like that idea.
Then he could be on that commercial. Was it the anti-smoking one or something?
It's a trap. You're a dick.
Just believe that you can stop smoking. Kaylin, any ideas of what you'd like to see Bo Dallas do?
Well, before they brought in Big Strong Man, I was hoping that he was going to join the Wyatt family. I thought that would have been a good pairing. But I don't know. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with him. I mean, there's a lot of directions they could go with him. I think, like you guys said, doing the exact opposite to where he's making fun of people. I mean, he was kind of doing that a little bit, but kind of in a sarcastic way. If they just flat out just start doing that, it might work. But no matter what they do, I hope it's something that he's able to run with, something that catches on with the fans, because he's been just kind of struggling for way too long now. And if nothing really turns around with his career, then I'm kind of wondering how long he's going to be around for in his current status. So I wish him all the luck. We'll see where it goes.
Drew, any ideas that come to your mind?
Wasn't he injured last year at one point?
Was he?
He was out on injury
I don't
for a
know.
little bit.
Okay, because I was gonna make the comparison. He reminds me a little bit of Fandango, where like they have like not a weird thing, but you know, something that's not really normal for the most part. You know, it gets a little bit pumped. He started losing, then he got injured. So I don't know. He reminds me a lot of Fandango. I think he's in no man's land, so you have to do something with his character for the most part to make him relevant again. So I haven't looked too much into this, and I don't really have much to say other than that. So hopefully they do something with him and make him more relevant.
We had a little story about Paige and Alicia Fox were kicked out of the Baltimore Supano's Prime Steakhouse Seafood and Pasta restaurant. God damn, that's a long title. They had some kind of an altercation with a fan that was obsessed with, like, trying to get pictures or something, and drinks were thrown or whatever. Now there's some rumors going around that they just did this for Total Divas, which makes sense to me because it seems like that's the type of thing that they would do, where it'd be like, next season on Total Divas, fans go crazy and whatever. And they've already done something on the show where people got upset in the middle of a restaurant, so that's not surprising at all to me. If it's not for Total Divas, and this was just something where some crazy fan happened, then goddamn, how many things are going to happen with these weird fans lately? We got the guy on Raw. We got the guy who smeared shit on the building, and the Armando guy. We got the guy who went after Dean Ambrose. If this is the fourth thing in, 2 weeks? Holy shit.
I feel like this happens all the time. We're just getting stories about it this week in particular. People deal with crazy fans everywhere, all the time. Any celebrity, not just wrestlers. So I think it's just the fact that we're getting these stories. There's weird stuff that happens all the time. Especially, like, imagine all the crazy stories we didn't hear that happened in, like, the 80s. I mean, shit, we're just getting Jimmy Snuka tried for murder now. Imagine all the other shit that happened that didn't really get told.
All the fights that went down, I'm sure. And, like, the crazier people, like, I would just Scott Hall alone, I'd like to hear some story.
Well, and back in the day of kayfabe, it was stressed onto these guys. If you're ever out there and someone picks a fight with you, you damn sure better kick their ass.
Right.
Otherwise, you get kicked out of the territory. It was that fucking big of a deal. And it's just insane. Some of the, you hear some of the stories back when Heat was a real thing. Fuck. Fans used to be crazy. Chase people out of the buildings like a crazy mob with pitchforks.
So,
I really hope they did chase people out of the ring with pitchforks.
But
who thinks,
in this case, I think this is just for Total Divas.
that's what I was going to ask. Who thinks it actually is just Total Divas instead? Because I'm too skeptical of it. To me, that sounds like a Total Divas thing.
Yeah, it sounds like bullshit.
Yeah, when something comes out that says it isn't Total Divas, then I might try to believe it. Then, but nah, this is such a Total Divas thing, and good publicity for them. But it's a shit show that no one watches anyway. So I don't know many people will actually tune in whenever they show this one thing next year because we already fucking know about it now. So kind of pointless.
I don't know the details. Were any charges pressed?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think they just, like, got, like, a little bit rambunctious, and then somebody threw a drink, and somebody else threw a drink. Which is like, ooh.
They want to drink all the drinks.
But a couple of news reports talking about it, and, of course, fans leaving comments out there. It's like, I wonder if they're going to get fired. No, they're not. Shut up. Like, especially if it is for Total Divas, then they're going to get praised, if anything. So, relax. Nobody's getting fired. Unless you're Jasmine. Because, holy shit, Jasmin Areebi. You don't follow up the Zara Schreiber stuff with things that are even worse. And, man, she just got caught with a bunch of racist comments on Twitter and Instagram that she got rid of, and they're bad. I can't even read some of them out. But
Go on, read them.
She quoted somebody who,
Get Sean here.
amongst other things, said, "That's why I chose white folk." And she put somebody, one of the other wrestlers that she's worked with in the indies, she called him her slave and said, "He's black, so you can't see him."
It's dumb.
So does that mean John Cena's black?
It's a bad point.
She asked, "Why are black people so horny?" Like, clearly it's a running pattern of a couple things like that. She's got some kind of an issue with black people, and I would not be surprised at all if she is released in the next few days. Because she hasn't shown up on NXT really. Like, Billie Kay and the other one, I can't remember her name, Peyton something or whatever, they've actually been wrestling on, like, NXT shows. Jasmine hasn't.
Don't you think when this wall went down last time with Zahara, that would have been a heads up to everybody else in the company, and that she would have immediately been like, oh shit, maybe I should do something about that? No, she just let somebody discover it. And
Well, maybe she should remember. These are from years ago.
Some of them
And
actually
furthermore-
date back as far as high school.
I was about to say, furthermore, she was 17 is the age people calculated when she put these up.
Calculated.
Yeah, just think about back to some of the shit you've done at 17.
I
Drew should remember it was only like a year ago for him.
Drew's like, oh man, back when I was 17.
2 years. 2 years. Give me 2 months actually. Actually, 2 months exactly. Beat 3 years, but you know, I don't. Oh my bad, it beat my mic. I don't feel bad for it at all. I'm actually in a butt. It beat my mic.
Just think about back to when he was 17. He hadn't even finger bagged yet.
He hadn't figured out how to use the microphone yet. Oh wait, that's still now.
Guys, shh. Anyways.
Drew's like, alright, that's enough picking on.
You know how like you hear those stories about how people.
You can go and talk now, sport.
Anyways, you always hear stuff about people nowadays about how like people won't hire them because they'll go on their social media and they find this stuff, and no one wants that kind of stuff. And I guess it's happening more and more nowadays. And you bring up the point that with after Zahara, whatever her name was, after she got fired, you think that these people would at least go up and check. And yeah, granted, it was a few years ago. I feel like you would maybe remember saying some stuff like that.
I don't know, man. Facebook has this thing now where like they show you things that happened on your wall and things people posted on your wall in the last few years. I see a lot of these things like I have no idea what the fuck I was talking about 3 years ago. So I could very easily understand how she would have done that.
I mean, Tony just brought back a status where he was talking about apple pies. It's fucking crazy.
Granted, this was a few years ago, like you said, but again, people have been getting released from the company. One guy just completely barred from their Hall of Fame and everything, and he's one of the main reasons this company exists still today. And you'd think that you'd at least go and check some of this stuff, make sure you're in the clear. Granted, I guarantee you fans nowadays are going back on purpose to find this stuff. So
that's the thing. People are going into it because they're trying to find that scoop. And they're looking at Twitter for like the women, it seems, a lot, because people are like obsessed with the women on Twitter. And the Instagram, people will always scope out old Instagram posts and stuff. So
I guarantee you some of these like not no-name wrestling websites, but some lower ones. I guarantee you some of those guys will be going through there just to see if they can find something, maybe give them their big break.
Scoops.com?
Maybe Scoops.scuttlebutt. So granted, I mean, it's terrible, but at the same time, you can't say shit like that and not expect it to come back and bite you in the ass. So this is an example of what you say on social media can come back and haunt you. So people,
see, now we're heading on a more overarching problem. This isn't just the thing that strikes WWE. There is a major problem of people feeling anonymity while they're posting on the social media or anywhere on the internet. And people do this. They think they're invincible. They type it out and then they walk away from their keyboard thinking that's it. And people don't realize, especially if you're someone who's going to be famous, you have a lot of eyes on there. And once it's out there, it's out there. Like you could delete it, you can try to do whatever you can to go the other way, but somebody's going to screenshot it. Some internet archive is going to have something in there about it. You can never fully get away from it. So people need to be extra careful about what they post on there. I consider myself a big tech guy. I love all these websites where people can communicate. I'm really big into it, but at the same time, I try to be so reserved and not let too much out there. Like, just people are so willing to just give themselves away, and I don't know how many of these stories like this people are going to have to see to finally learn.
I don't think they will. I think it's just going to keep getting worse. But celebrities, like especially after the Zara stuff, I would think that there'd be a big company meeting or something like that where they would just be like, can you guys please just go back and like maybe even hire somebody from WWE to look at that stuff?
It's kind of weird they don't have that already. With all the way they push social media so much. Like it's partially their fault. They tell everyone that they have to use Twitter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Some of these people shouldn't. Could you imagine if they did this back in the day and you had like Midian on Twitter? Like what shit would he be posting?
Or like the Steiner brothers back then. Fucking Scott Steiner's crazy enough now.
Here's the thing: everybody's got an opinion, everybody's got a voice. Not everybody should use it though, especially on social media where it can be interpreted a whole other ways. They're having the same issue in the UFC. They've got 500 guys on their roster, and it's hard to keep tabs of all these fuckers.
They have more of an excuse when it comes to that.
Yeah, but still, it doesn't matter if it's 100 guys. It's still hard to keep tabs of and tell all these guys to knock their shit off, and then if it picks up steam, it picks up steam.
I would think, though, WWE would be really well concerned with hiring maybe like a group of like 5 people or something like that, and just be like, yo, you have a project you have to do. Go through everybody's social media account from the very beginning of it. Yeah, it sucks, but that's why we're paying you. And you find anything that might be something that will get us in trouble in the future, and you bring it to our attention.
So they don't even need to do that. They have firms that do that. Like back when I used to work for a business incubator, we had people that would come in and try to sell their services doing that kind of thing. These places already exist. So it's only their own fault for not bringing it. Like, bring them in, clean up your existing roster, and then anybody who gets hired, I mean, you do a health check for them, have them do a background check on their social media, too.
Right. I don't see any downside to it. Yeah, you got to pay people to do that, but you pay people to do so many other things, and some of those might not necessarily even be, like, the best use of your funds, but you've got the money. Like, I'm sure these people aren't charging, $1,000 a minute, but that would make a lot more sense to me. And now that this whole thing with Jasmine's coming out, I'm really just expecting to see Jasmine's been released tomorrow, maybe the next day. So, preemptive, that might not be a hot tag next week or something like that, but it might end up happening.
So you're saying she's going to become Jessica Areebi?
No, especially because her name's not Jessica.
She is now.
Wago pointed out a story to me earlier. I didn't fully read it 100%, but it was Renee Dupree and Rico were accusing Bubba Ray Dudley of working too stiff and being dangerous. Was that basically what it boiled down to?
So first, Renee Dupree let out a huge post about, or it was an interview it might have been extracted from, I don't remember exactly, but it entailed that Bubba Ray Dudley intentionally went out to hurt him and worked very stiff, and he received a multiple of concussions from tours working with him. Not too long afterwards, couple-day period, Rico came out and essentially repeated the same claims.
I completely forgot that the name Renee used to be associated with such a douchebag.
Renee douchebag.
Renee Dupree.
Yeah, so what if people are stiff? I mean, you can't have somebody that's dangerous in the ring.
Oh my god, again. Imagine back in the day if we had people coming out quotes about, like, fucking Vader and, like, George the Animal Steel or even Andre the Giant.
And it's like the Dudleys, they worked dangerous matches. So, of course, it's going to be more of a risk of getting injured. They've got a more dangerous style. They're not the people that are flipping around themselves and hurting themselves.
Here's where I stand on this. There's one thing being stiff, but they're claiming they're going out and intentionally hurting people. When you sign up to do this gig, you essentially agree to put each other's life in your hands, and you've got to respect that, because one wrong move, one stupid mistake, that's a guy paralyzed, that's a guy dead, that's a guy seriously hurt. So if they're going out there and intentionally hurting people, then I'd be worried and I'd look into that. But they've had such a long career, and it's just a couple people, where I'm skeptical to believe it.
Right.
It might just be the fact that Rico and Renee are a bunch of fucking assholes, and Bubba wanted to hurt them.
They're trying to shit over that, or they're just trying to shit over the buzz that they got for coming back, or they're trying to leech off it. Drew, maybe you could follow this up. I think there's actually something going on right now in football where a coach is under heat for possibly having team members target someone in a very similar fashion. Like, they saw a player out there and they wanted to target him to injure him.
Yeah, there's always stuff like going on like that, in the NFL especially, and even when
it's like a hefty fine, right? It's like something to take pretty damn seriously. If you get caught doing that, you're like fined a lot of money.
Yeah, a couple grand or something.
Yeah, a few years ago, there was a scheme going on in the NFL where there was coaches who were paying players to go out and injure other people's, which is, it is what it is, but at the same time, people lost their jobs, and, a lot of people got fined, a lot of money. So I don't even say it's with that sport. So you see people from other sports like taking cheap shots at others. So it's just a matter of, the credibility and, people respecting the integrity of what they're doing for the most part.
Well, did you guys see that story that was going around just within the last couple of days of I think it was high school football players purposely tackled the ref, like an official.
What?
And it's ridiculous. It's, so they're talking about, what's the punishment going to be for these guys? Are they going to face criminal charges? And it's really ridiculous. I watched the video, and there was no accident. I mean, I'm Just wondering.
I tripped. I also tripped. I am now tripping over your
No.
bodies.
Oh man, I tripped 40 yards.
Yeah, I'm guessing if it's some kind of retribution for the ref made some calls they didn't like or something. So I'm wondering
It wasn't.
if they're trying to figure out who put them up to it or if it was their idea or whatever. But it's a bunch of bullshit. Like it's that fucking sense of entitlement. It's just I can go out and hurt whoever I want. It's like ridiculous.
Apparently, they claim he made racial slurs.
Oh, that's what everyone else
So
says
did the guy that
nowadays.
shot the fucking reporter. Everybody claims racial shit when they're about to commit a crime.
But was it on the ref's Twitter account?
I don't know. You tell me. We'll pay
So,
you money
yeah.
to go
They're like,
find
hey, that thing
out.
you said in 2009, we're gonna tackle your ass.
It's not even that they tackled it. They just straight out just went out to fucking hit him as hard as he can. And then when he fell on the ground, other guys went up and like threw his helmet right on him. And it's like, fuck me, dude. That guy could easily get paralyzed because of that shit.
Oh yeah, dude. There was no way this was an accident. I'm watching this. You watch like I forget which Hell in a Cell match it was, but the one where Tim White got hurt, where he just got caught in a bad spot and crushed in the cage a little too hard. Like that happens. He was in a bad spot. It happened. This guy is like nowhere near the action of the game. What the hell is going?
I mean, if
It's
Bubba Ray
crazy.
Dudley is somebody who intentionally went to hurt somebody, then obviously there's a problem. But like you said, Wago, if he's had such a long career and, I would have thought more people would have been like, that guy's unsafe.
It's either
Exactly.
that or he had a personal beef with them, and it's one thing
Maybe.
led to another.
And there's another thing to remember. In this business, a lot of guys complain about people working too hard just because they're more delicate than some.
Yeah.
Apparently Chris Jericho was one of those guys, and it's amazing seeing some of the work is done, but certain guys just get butthurt a lot easier over that type of stuff.
And if they
Yeah.
really
Rico.
were dangerous, do you think WWE would bring him back?
Right.
Like, is there really money in Dudley Boys being back?
Wouldn't you be worried about Bubba Ray injuring like your Seth Rollins and your Dean Ambrose and your big important
Shit,
people
even your New Days or
Yeah.
like the Usos when they get back, like.
Yeah, if he was too stiff and too dangerous and somebody that they needed to watch out for, they'd bring him back for a Hall of Fame induction and that'd be it.
Yeah, I'm just questioning the whole timing of this too. It seems really weird.
Yeah, if it would have been 5 weeks ago, 10 weeks ago, then it would have been like, maybe there's something to it. They come to WWE, they start getting title shots and stuff, and it's like, nah, those guys are assholes. All right, well, then, that was the last time that we started talking about Renee Dupree other than this. Like, Our last hot tag is going to be about Kurt Angle. He has said that he's not re-signing with TNA, nor is he going to be pursuing a WWE contract.
Oh.
He actually wants to take some time off of wrestling and then see whatever happens. So I'm assuming he's trying to do maybe some acting, maybe some more promotional stuff, like he's got some nutritional supplement
Angle
shit,
Foods.
right?
Yeah.
Never eaten any of those. Then again, I'm
Jobs.
totally not in shape. So, I think that this is a way for him to distance himself from TNA and then to come back to WWE. And it's just sort of, WWE might not be interested now, but they might be in a year.
You never know, man. He's been dealing with a lot of injuries. Didn't he have a tumor removed just like a month ago or something along those lines? So
Yeah.
this just might be him taking time off to recover. And I don't blame him. He's getting up there in years, and granted, he's not getting any younger, but he's had a lot of wear and tear on his body. Maybe he just needs to go Undertaker mode, just take a year off, and not say he performs once a year, but just come back in a year or so, just see what happens then. But man, I'm glad he's getting away from TNA. I remember like last year when he re-signed with them, like I sounded like he didn't fucking want to, but he did because he needed a job. So hope nothing but the best for him. If this is the last we see him in the ring, then hey, fuck TNA even more because they got the last half of his career. So fuck them.
Anybody not want to see him in WWE?
I'm worried about how he's going to look compared to what he was before, but the thing is, I just want him to have some redemption from being in TNA so long. So,
Exactly.
as much as I don't want to see him get hurt, I also want to see him go out in the biggest way possible because he deserves it. Easily the quickest guy to adapt to pro wrestling from having no training, and one of the greatest athletes that WWE has ever had. I want to see him one more time at WrestleMania. Him versus Daniel Bryan. Can anyone say they don't want to see that?
It's fucking high.
If
They
he
are
could only
high.
wrestle one
Yeah.
match when he comes back, I probably want it to be that one. Which that's if Daniel Bryan can.
Shit.
Probably end up
just-
paralyzing each other.
Yeah, fuck.
They headbutt
Fucking
each other at the
tragedy
very
in
beginning of it.
sports.
There's a number. If Angle came back tomorrow or a year from now, there's a number of guys that you could throw him out with. And now there's a number of guys who are in NXT right now that will be up on the main roster by then that you could throw him in there with. And I'd love to see, mainly because I know it will be a great match and a great way for Kurt Angle to get his send off that he deserves. Because fuck me for not being able to see him because I refuse to watch a shitty company for 10 years.
Kurt Angle, I think, is intending to come back to WWE. He put the feelers out and he was rejected. I think distancing himself from TNA is probably a good thing as far as a negotiation ploy. And just remember, when he retired last time, it was to get out of his WWE contract to go to TNA.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Now, I didn't read the full wording on this, but it's looking like he's just saying he's taking a break. It's not necessarily that he's retiring. What I think he's doing is he's just trying to make as clean of a separation from TNA as possible. So if he says he's going down this way, it's kind of like, okay, Kurt, thank you for your years of service, as opposed to getting the fuck away from this sinking ship.
Yeah. Like, and you know what? Like, if worse came to worse and a year from now or whatever, he can't get jobs elsewhere and whatever, maybe he would go back to TNA. Maybe, like, you know, but I think what he's trying to do here is he's like, look, I'll take a little time, I'll heal up, I'll get away from that fucking god-awful company, try to see what else I can do for the rest of my life. Hopefully WWE calls. I could see that being the case.
I don't blame him at all. I think this is the perfect thing for him right now. This is what he needs to do. Eventually, I would love to see him back in WWE. I think, like you guys were saying, I think Wago was saying, to see him, if he's going to go out, I want to see him go out on a high like that. I want to see him back where I learned to love him in the late 90s, early 2000s when he was with the WWE. And to see him back again. That's true. Yeah, so he would have to wear the wig. But to see him again, I think that's eventually where I'd like to see him. But for now, he just needs to have that clean separation, like you guys were saying, and then just sort of weigh his options. So I think this is the best move for him right now.
one thing I would like to say, and I think it's worth noting, as much as we're shitting on TNA wrestling, and as much as we think it taints his career, and it does.
It did.
Yep.
And what you've got to remember is it probably was the best thing to ever happen to Kurt Angle, the person. That guy could not keep up with the WWE schedule. He would have died, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, no. He could have went and did something else with his life. Maybe he would have did something that actually would have been profitable and good for him, rather than just festering in TNA all these years.
Hurting
You
himself
know,
more.
They provided him with a paycheck. They provided him with a light schedule. I don't think it's fair to say TNA are like the enemies in this situation at all. I think they gave him a fantastic deal for where he was in his career.
I look at them as like he probably would have been better going elsewhere. Maybe not to a wrestling company, but like
No, so do something else.
yeah,
And-
if he could have done something else, he could have probably been in a lot better shape because he was
Well, here's
working
the thing.
himself through TNA all this time,
He
hurting
probably
himself. And
didn't want to do anything else.
maybe that's true. I
Like,
mean,
does
it's
this
his decisions when it comes down to it. Like he made them for whatever reason, so he's making
You know-
this one for whatever reason it is.
You know what he could have been? He could have been a trainer for the U.S. Olympic team, or any country's Olympic team.
I wouldn't
Because
go
they're a
that
different
far.
country.
Oh man,
helping out Russia. You suddenly
Oh my
see the
god! And then he
WWE
has a
with
built-in
Russo.
storyline when he comes back to wrestling.
Well, he did play a Russian. He did play a Russian MMA fighter in some terrible film.
Well, there you go.
I do want to see.
Yo, but
Is
you know
this
what he
made-
shouldn't have stuck in? He shouldn't have stuck in this Angle food shit, because I'm looking at his menu of all these foods, and they look fucking awful. Look at this.
Does he
Look at the vegetarian meatball casserole. It looks like someone
Sounds
took a
terrible.
shit on the plate. Like someone just dropped 3 bloody turds on a plate and just left it there, and it's like, hey, there's your dinner.
Egg
Does he have a
whites
gym?
breakfast. It's like,
Of any
wow,
sort?
yeah. Took a while to think that went up, huh?
It just like took the egg whites, just carved them up into like little bits, like slapped the plate in front of you.
That's like gourmet grilled cheese. We cut it into shapes.
My food sucks. My food sucks.
Oh god, the meat lasagna looks. Oh,
Dude, should have just opened a gym.
probably. that
not
probably
even-
would have been the best thing.
It's not even that. He could just do, he has multiple things he could do. He could teach people how to be a professional wrestler and then an amateur wrestler. It's like he can make a lot of money off that shit. So who knows what he'll do?
Why does the meat lasagna look like a cheesecake?
Maybe it's a cheesecake.
And why do the stuffed shells look like they're not cooked? All right, so apparently we're not going to eat animal foods. He needs to move on to something else. Hopefully that's something that works out for him and all that. But I think that rolls us out for the hot tags. Leave your comments below. Tell us what you think about all these other things. Tell us what your favorite thing on Angle Foods would be. What would you order if you had to order something? Very curious what that would end up being. It might be the Guilt Buster, one of those.
Yeah, the Guilt Buster is probably the number one thing.
Yeah, just because of the name. Be like,
With
well,
the cheese?
at least I could eat a Guilt Buster.
And it's pretty hard to fuck up a pizza too bad.
Now which one? The breakfast, the cheese, or the vegetable pizza?
Papa John's fucks up pizza all the time.
Ooh. See, the breakfast actually doesn't look too bad. Breakfast
Well, the
looks like
egg
it's
whites.
some kind of like nacho-y shit.
But yeah, leave those comments below, guys, because we are going to take a break here with the rest hold, and we're going to come back after that with a mailbag and with our special feature for the episode, which is Belt or Bury Sting. Stay tuned. Part 3 is coming your way.
Get me a